Hello, this is you've met before.
Hello.
The none of you that have watched. All right. So we got another one about Prince Blueblood this time, and Luna, who everybody knows is the better princess.
Yes, she is.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes. All right, shut up. All right, I want to be. All right,
You didn't tell me who you wanted to be.
clip, clop, clip. Blueblood's hooves echoed on the marble floors as he wandered through the ballroom. At long last, after about a good hour of panic, the guards had managed to corral all the guests and escort them out of the palace. Blueblood sighed. The place was a wreck. Animal dropping littered the rugs. The golden statue of Celestia lay headless, surrounded by the wreckage of at least 6 columns. Not to mention, it had taken him a good 30 minutes to comb all that cake out of his perfectly styled hair. He could hardly believe that pony Rarity's behavior. His mouth still tasted like commoner food. But the worst thing had to be the damage to the palace. Soon the palace would be filled with lower-class construction ponies. Blueblood shuddered to think of them tracking their commoner mud all over his aunt's beautiful floors. Really, it was all thanks to common ponies that this disaster happened. Common ponies had no shame, no respect for others' hard work. That much was evident. Those 6 from Ponyville had ruined a beautiful night. Blueblood doubted they even felt an ounce of remorse. Why Aunt Celestia had invited those ruffians, Blueblood couldn't guess. He only hoped his aunt, magnificent as she was, had learned her lesson. Friendship with common ponies brought nothing but bad luck. Really, royal ponies needed to stick to their own kind and let the common mud stay common. But, alas, the ball was long over, cut short by the inexcusable behavior of those Ponyville ruffians. Without his entourage of high-class friends and admirers, Blueblood felt quite alone. Slowly, he turned to go upstairs. Being royalty had its advantages. Aunt Celestia let him stay in the palace with her and her sister. Even if the night was ruined, a long, luxuriant bath and a good sleep would restore his mood. But as he turned to ascend the staircase, a slim blue figure caught his eye. Ah, Princess Luna! The night sky princess stood on the mid-level landing, frowning thoughtfully at the chaos in the ballroom. She glanced down at Blueblood as he approached. She didn't return his smile, regarding him with a kind of cool, calculated curiosity. Finally, as he reached the landing, she spoke.
Who are you?
Blueblood frowned deeply, then smiled again. Oh yes, I suppose we haven't met. You've been sequestered since you returned, I remember. My name is Blueblood. Prince Blueblood. He inclined his neck respectfully towards the princess, who grimaced at him.
How exactly are you a prince? My sister doesn't have a son.
Blueblood laughed cordially. I'm not Aunt Celestia's son. Oh, no. I'm her nephew, he replied. And yours, too.
Oh, well, excuse me then. I've been away for the past 1,000 years, so I don't exactly know who's who.
She inclined her head toward him.
Pleased to meet you, nephew.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of me before. I'm very popular, you know, Blueblood boasted, but she wasn't listening to him any longer. Instead, she was peering back at the ballroom. Blueblood fell silent, frowning again. Why wasn't she paying attention to him? What was so interesting about the stupid ballroom anyway? Common ponies were naturally destructive. Really, it was no surprise that they'd ruined the ball. They'd ruined everything they touched with their dirty hooves and severe lack of manners. Blueblood snorted derisively. Curiously, Luna looked up at him.
Do you know what happened down here?
Blueblood gasped dramatically. Finally, she was paying attention to him. Oh, princess, you've never seen such horrible behavior. These 6 commoners from Ponyville, of all places, came and completely destroyed the ball. chased off all our guests. It was simply horrid,
Oh, that does sound awful.
Luna replied. He spoke in a quiet, polite voice that Blue Blood found pleasing.
Ponyville.
Disgusting place, filled with ruffians. Blue Blood's Aunt Celestia hurried down there to give those ponies a good talking to. It's a lucky thing that you weren't at the ball, Princess. You would have been appalled at the chaos. Luna watched him. Blue Blood squirmed, surreptitiously checking to see if there were any apple cake on his coat. The princess's steady azure gaze made him a little uncomfortable. She was so slim and petite. She looked like a filly, but he knew she was much older. There was an untold silence and emptiness behind her gaze. She wasn't stupid. Of course she wasn't. She was royalty, after all. The emptiness in her gaze was but profoundly different from the dense gawk of the commoner ponies. Blue Blood almost wished he hadn't spoken to her.
I disagree.
She said in her soft, cultivated voice. Blue Blood took a step back, eyes wide in surprise. What? He began. What could you mean by that, Princess? She smiled gently! Head down.
A little chaos can be very beautiful.
Blue Blood felt a sudden chill. She couldn't help but recall that just a few months ago, this delicate filly before him was the beast known as Nightmare Moon. The very creature who threatened to throw all of Equestria into an endless night. Blue Blood grimaced. No wonder Aunt Celestia had forbidden her from attending the gala. There was still a little bit of the monster left inside her. Luna caught his expression. Her smile faded.
My apologies. Did I upset you?
Blue Blood forced a charming smile. No, Princess, of course not. I just think that that's a very interesting way of looking at things. Luna smiled again. She would be a very pretty filly when she smiled and over the haunting emptiness of her wide blue eyes.
Let me show you something, Blue Blood.
China. With elegance befitting a princess, she descended the steps. After a second or two's consideration, Blue Blood followed her. Luna wandered out through the ballroom into the garden through the same door the insane Pegasus filly had burst through with the animals. She didn't seem to mind the animal droppings or muddy paw prints all over the floor. Outside, the garden was cool and quiet. The animals, turned into a panic by the yellow Pegasus, finally managed to calm down. They were settled quietly in their respective dens, the birds in the trees and the birds and the rabbits in the hollows. Blue Blood didn't think much of animals, stinky wild beasts. He much preferred flowers, which were quiet and pretty and accented his natural beauty. Luna paused over the flowers and animals, though. She led him to a false smear fur. She led him to a small clearing awash in moonlight. From that spot, Blue Blood could see the full moon beaming silently over Equestria. The distinctive craters that made up the mirror and the moon were gone, vanished now that Luna was back on Earth. Princess Luna gazed, perhaps a little sadly, up at the moon. The sky was bright with stars.
You know, I made the stars.
She said almost too quietly for him to hear.
I made the stars.
Yes, I read the legend in school, Bluebird replied. The night sky is very pretty.
Thank you.
Luna smiled at him.
I worked very hard on it.
Well, it's lovely. Bluebird pulled out his chest. My admirers often compare me to a star because I'm so handsome. Don't you agree? Luna tittered quietly.
Well, that's very kind of them, but won't you take another look?
She gestured back to the sky. Bluebird looked up. The night sky looked the same as it always did, blue and black and speckled with stars.
I could have arranged the stars in neat straight rows, but I thought it was prettier to scatter them. Perfect lines aren't as interesting to look at.
Blueblood frowned. I see. No, he didn't. Perfect lines or clusters, it was all the same, wasn't it?
Because I think chaos can be lovely.
Luna invited something. She looked up at the moon, finally managing to smile.
Maybe my sister thinks so too.
Bluebud gawked at her. Are you suggesting that Celestia invited those commoner ponies on purpose? Bluebud's eyes rolled in horror. Are you suggesting she wrecked her own gala?
Perhaps. But it would be a funny story, wouldn't it?
Bluebud shook his head. Excuse me. He quickly turned and headed back inside amidst the chaos of the wrecked ballroom. The ethereal feeling gave him the chills. How could she think that? How could anyone think this kind of disaster was beautiful? How could anyone think this story wasn't drivel?
Oh, God. The story went nowhere. Gosh.
Oh, man, I was expecting, like, at least some shipping.
Something.
Was this like an exercise in getting people to think it's going to be a good story?
With build-up that leads to no climax at all.
I know, and if there's anything the ponies know, it's that you should never have a build-up without a climax.
Yes. This is very true.
This one was how to climax.
Rare Shy People. 2011.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
Next 4 years. Elect. Alright, that story was a yeah, alright. Alright, bye.